Chewelry, or as they are more commonly known, Chewies, have grown in popularity over the years as a fidget toy. From humble origins as a sort of chewable tubing, to today's range of Chewies from necklaces or bracelets to pencil toppers, you name it, Chewies have helped many people over the years, whether with anxiety or just with mental stimulation. They're even approved by the Canadian Association of Occupational Therapists. The first use of the word Chewy that I was able to find was from a 1992 study in the American Journal of Occupational Therapy titled Perspectives on an Oral Motor Activity, the Use of Rubber Tubing as a Chewy. This article discusses the use of a cylindrical piece of rubber tubing, the ends of which are placed in the mouth and chewed or sucked on. The article by Carol R. Shearer confirms that this can be a good alternative to other non-edible items that people, in this case children, are putting in their mouth for sensory input. It says that Chewies can provide a therapeutic benefit to those people. Maybe you are one of those people, wondering how this thing even got started. Originally, at least as far as I can tell with the 1992 study, Chewies started out pretty simply as cylindrical rubber tubing. It isn't really known how long before this study that Chewies even existed or were used. There have been many studies done over the years since that seemingly original 1992 study, even going as far as into 2022. From what I've seen, Chewelry and Chewies have always been seen and used as a way to relieve stress, focus attention, and provide stimulation further needed by users of the Chewelry. However, I have not seen any Chewies mentioned or sold until 2005. It could be argued that that was around when online shopping was really starting to pick up, and thus, that was when they started appearing more online. I'm not certain if Chewies were available at in-person stores before this time, but Arc Therapeutics started around 2000. I can't confirm on site, so thus my starting around 2005. Arc Therapeutics is the first mention that I see of selling any kind of Chewy. The resources I found about Chewies seem to be centered around the USA and Canada. I haven't found anything regarding other places such as the UK, and I'm uncertain if that is due to a lack of studies there, a lack of access on my part, or something else. If there are any more resources that are not so North America-centric, I'd love to look more into them. Anyways, between 2005 and the early 2010s, the market for Chewies grew significantly. A seemingly popular place to get Chewies also being Munchables, which has been around since 2013. And kidcompanions.com, whatever their startup date, it is thanks to companies like these that Chewelry exists, especially with their variety of firmness, shapes, sizes, and textures. Or even beyond Chewelry, there are also Chewies more similar to handheld fidget toys. Much like other fidget toys, Chewies can be used to relieve stress. This could even be considered a large or main use for Chewies or Chewelry. It is listed as a main reason why people use Chewelry on multiple studies. All the studies and research used for this video is, of course, listed below as always. One study also notes that nail and cheek biting is related. This does make sense, but it did take me a moment to process when I first read it. I'm not sure why I thought those behaviors were too inherently different, but here we are. This study from 2015 does note that other activities, such as foot tapping, have the same stress-relieving effects. It also notes that chewing can increase one's performance, but this is slightly controversial. The effects of chewing gum when in stressful situations has been mixed. I feel like this is a bit obvious, as coping mechanisms work differently for everyone, but it is in studies, so I should be more transparent and state that. So here we are. One thing that a lot of studies, or even general websites that sell Chewies, seem to have in common is that they're aimed towards people that are neurodivergent. Specifically autistic people, it seems like, as well as, to a lesser extent, people with ADHD, but mostly autistic people. Now, this does kind of make sense, as chewing can be a common stim, at least according to the autistic people which I have spoken to. At this moment, I am not diagnosed with autism, and am not seeking that diagnosis or anything. I don't believe that I am in that community. So I'm just taking the words of people I know who are in the autistic community. However, because of how infantilized autistic people are in society, along with the overwhelming focus on autistic children, not autistic adults, autistic children in these studies and on the websites, honestly. All the studies I've seen are focused on children. I'm not sure how much the use of Chewies has been studied in adults, autistic or allistic. Due to this, I don't believe that the role that Chewies play in self-regulation, among other stim toys, should be discounted. Chewing is also a common stim for those with ADHD. As I said before, some of these sites do have a focus on ADHD, but it is more a focus on autistic people's stims and chewing stims. For people looking for more sensory input, Chewies can be a great tool. There are also very few stims that have the potential to be both as portable and as subtle as Chewies, at least from what I've found. I think that this is a particularly interesting aspect, the customizability of this stim method. Over time, Chewies have been made more subtle and stylish. There are very few stim toys which I think have done the same over the years. I know that we went through a huge fidget spinner trend with a lot of different designs, but I don't think that those are near as subtle, and from what I've seen, Chewies can be a more quiet method of stimming, which of course makes them a little bit more subtle. A point which I've often seen is that Chewies are made to be durable. It's understandable why this point is brought up so often on websites. Given that these are meant to be chewed on with varying levels of jaw strength, the last thing that the user would want is pieces coming off or apart from the main structure, especially if they're able to be swallowed. That could just be really gross or really bad. Stimming and stress can sometimes lead to an almost absent-minded use of excessive force upon objects, at least in my own experience. So things like this need to be hearty. With that said, another aspect of Chewies, Chewelry in particular, is that it can be subtle and easily hidden away from view. So with that strength is the hope that Chewelry is able to withstand things such as strong jaw strength or things that may cause teeth marks or chunks of the Chewelry to be missing. Even if they're not swallowable, chunks could still be worn down over time. So I feel like strength is a big part of it. And if you're wearing this as genuinely as jewelry, you probably want it to be looking as nice as possible, right? Although most of the sources I checked seem to have use cases that are squarely centered around children, there was one offhand mention that caught my eye: smoking. Along with the classic chew gum to stop nicotine cravings, which people often spout, I can see how Chewelry could be another option. I feel the comparison can be especially apt when considering the original study of Chewies being a piece of tubing. Barring stupid social norms around not chewing in public, I don't see why Chewies are not marketed alongside gum for just the purpose of quitting smoking. I mean, isn't a cigarette just a tube filled with nicotine itself? Chewies have been around for over 30 years now. From what I can tell, there have been no official studies on the use of Chewies to stop smoking. Within websites like Arc Therapeutic, there is mention of using Chewies to stop smoking, alongside Willow's Toys listings. I would bet that these claims are based just on customer testimonial, however, so take that as you will. There are limited studies on Chewies and Chewelry, but everything I've seen states that they're a great way to stim and relieve stress, whether you've used Chewelry for years, or are just getting into Chewies now. Or maybe you're learning about them through this video. There are a lot of positives to be said about this branch of stim toys in particular. They're safe, subtle, useful, fun, and interesting. With many varieties and tons of uses, I don't think that this is a jewelry fad that will disappear anytime soon. There were a lot of online sources used in this video, and while I hope that I didn't miss out on any crucial info, please let me know if you have any more information about the use and study of Chewies. I'd love to be able to do a follow-up video with even more facts than was said here. With that in mind, please be careful in the sources. There was at least one study that I found it will be in the source, but it will be labeled, that did put a focus on ABA therapy. This is a therapy that, from what I've seen, the autistic community is against. From what I have heard, it causes a lot of harm to autistic individuals. I would suggest that individuals looking into that study and looking into Chewies in general, please exercise caution in what you read. I would say just exercise caution in the sources that you check out. I will, like I said, label the source that I am speaking about in particular in the description as such, but just be careful out there. If you have any other subjects about mental health or LGBTQIA+ topics that you'd like to see covered, please let me know down in the comments. As always, my resources are listed in the description below. Thanks for watching the OCDMB. Stay safe out there.